All right. Hi, everyone. We're students from UNC Chapel Hill, and today we're going to talk to you about different etiquettes and mannerisms that make up other cultures. And to just start, we're all going to introduce ourselves. So, hello, I'm Samantha. I'm a sophomore at UNC. I'm a business major and a Spanish minor, and this summer I spent 12 weeks in Sevilla, Spain, and Gabby has a globe, and she's going to point to my country. There
So
it is.
like right there, Europe, just so y'all know where it is. All right, and then, hi, my name's Gabby. I'm a sophomore at UNC. I'm a global studies major with a concentration in global health and environment, and my focus is on Africa. I'm originally from New York, but I've lived around Charlotte, North Carolina for about 9 years now. And this past summer, I went to the Netherlands and Rwanda, which is in like Central Eastern Africa right here, where I spent 6 weeks learning about international law and things like that.
And I'm Grace. I am an art history and political science major, and I'm a sophomore at UNC Chapel Hill as well. So I've moved around a lot when I was younger, but I lived in South Korea for the past 6 years, which is on the globe, right next to China. It's right between China and Japan.
Right there. And yeah, so I guess to get started for today, we're going to have a little small activity to get you guys thinking and things like that. It's just going to be a little true-false activity. So if something's true, you're going to do a thumbs up, and if something's false, you're going to do a thumbs down. So let's just do a quick practice. True or false? Today is Friday. All right, good. We get it. All right, so here are the ones that we picked. When I meet someone in Spain, I should kiss them on the cheek. Anyone know? You can guess too. I don't really know. Okay, good. If I'm dining with an older person in Korea, we should both start eating at the same time. I don't know. Okay, and then in Rwanda, I should look someone who is older than me in the eye when talking to them. Okay, so these are the kinds of things we're going to be discussing today. We'll talk about different cultural practices found in each of our countries, so Rwanda, Spain, and South Korea, and we'll compare them to some things we do in the United States. Yeah, so on to the main activity, I guess.
Yep. All right, to start with, we're going to go over some ways that you greet people. So when you greet your friends here in the United States, what do? You give them a high five, you shake their hand, give them a hug, just wave, peace sign, but there are many different ways that you greet people in other countries. So for instance, in Rwanda, Korea, and Spain, how do we greet people?
Well, in Rwanda, it's greetings are super important. It's kind of rude if you don't greet someone that you know, or you just pass by someone on the street without saying hi and having a full conversation. Typically younger people, they greet older people first. And then this is a little more traditional, but it still applies that women greet men first also. And then it's also kind of essential that you speak softly. If you're too loud, they think that's rude. So then when I went to Rwanda and there was a bunch of American kids screaming all the time, we got some looks. So it's customary to speak softly. But typically in a conversation, you would say, hi, how are you? Typically in their native language, which is Kinyarwanda. So Maraho is hello in Kinyarwanda. And then you would say, how are you? Which is Amakuru. And then typically someone would say Nimeza, which means I'm fine. And then that's kind of the extent, unless you know more Kinyarwanda, which obviously we didn't. So yeah. What about in South Korea?
That's really interesting because the hierarchy of who's older and who's a woman and a man is also very predominant when you greet people. So if you are younger, you would greet the older person first as well. And when you greet them, you usually do a slight bow. We call this an inta. And then you would use respectful language. And the thing is, to really determine who's older or younger, if it's not super clear, people usually within their first conversation find out the other person's age in some way or form. Like they would ask, oh, so like what year were you born? Or, oh, where did you go for high school or school? Or, oh, what year are you? And after you establish a person's age, then you start referring to them by however they are older than you. So you'd start using formal language or respectful language if you were younger and you established that. And if you're older, you'd use informal language to the person older than you as well. Is there anything like similar to that in Spain?
No, not at all. Greeting people in Spain isn't based off of like age or gender at all. Like everyone you meet, you'll do the same thing with them pretty much. Like if I were to meet one of you for the first time, or a man or whomever, typically like if you're familiar with them or their family, like you'll kiss them on each cheek and you go left to right. Like that's important because some countries they do 3 kisses depending on like marital status or anything like that. But in Spain, it's just always 2 kisses left to right. And that's typical in Europe, I think. And you just like kiss them and are like, oh, nice to meet you. And that's pretty much it. And there's not really like a difference in respect either, like in terms of respectful language. I tried that. There are 2 words in Spanish that you use for you. And one of them is tú, and it's like the informal. And then usted is like the formal version. And so with my house mom, I referred to her by usted, and she was like, no, like use tú, or call me like mama or Aurora, like her name. Because in Spain, they're very informal. Like the only reason you would call someone usted is if you were talking to the king or the prime minister. And that's pretty much it, which is interesting.
Do you do like the kissing thing even if you're meeting someone like for the first time, or like a professional colleague or something?
Well, I didn't interact in many professional situations. So I would assume that if you're like in a business meeting or something, you wouldn't be that informal. Like you would shake hands, which is like a universal kind of like business thing. And if I were meeting the king, I wouldn't probably approach him for a kiss. So I don't think it's only if you're like the same, like, I mean, it's pretty much in informal settings. Like if it were a formal setting, you would probably just shake hands or just like respectfully, like, hello, nice to meet you.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do you like actually kiss them on the cheek, or do you like just make the kissing sound? Because I heard that some people do it the other way around.
Okay. When I did it with people, it was like you touched cheeks. So I'd be like,
oh, okay.
And then you make the kissing sound. You don't actually like put your lips on their cheek, but I mean, it happens. It's not like uncommon for you to act like, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then what about like eating practices in your cultures? Like I know in Rwanda, it's like pretty typical, like same in the United States, they just eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. They have a lot of carbs, like potatoes and fries and like pasta and things like that. What about in Spain?
Eating is so different in Spain. It's really hot there. So, or like at least where I was, but in Spain, they all practice the same way. Like breakfast isn't a huge meal. You only eat it if you're awake at that time. Otherwise, you don't wake up until you start making lunch. And lunch is served at like 3:00 in the afternoon. And then after lunch, you take a nap, which is really nice and really hard to break the habit. Like, let me tell you. I'm still sleepy after I eat lunch. And then dinner is eaten at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And then you go to bed and it's late.
Wow.
Yeah. How about in Rwanda?
In Rwanda, it's the same kind of thing as the U.S. You eat in the morning. It's usually like something light, like bread and tea and fruit and things like that. They don't really eat cereals or anything because it's super expensive over there. And then lunch is pretty much the same and dinner is pretty much the same also. Same kind of time frames and stuff like that. And in South Korea?
I mean, it's like the same in terms of like breakfast isn't that big of a thing. Lunch is pretty, so like when people eat, they usually don't eat by themselves. They try to eat with other people. If you eat by yourself, you're like seen as a loser. So you would generally eat with other people and match up the time schedule with somebody. And when you eat together, like lunch is in a kind of informal setting. And then for dinner, if you eat with somebody's family or if you eat with another person, that's like, ooh la la, that's like really romantic, like, or that's really intimate. So dinner is usually reserved for very close friends or very close family members. for like professional business settings. For breakfast, it's just the leftovers from last night.
Is there anything that's considered like really rude to do when you're eating or like when you're together with people?
I mean, for one thing, it's the whole hierarchy thing that we mentioned in the greetings. Like, the younger person needs to serve the older person the food. Like, they should be the one setting the table and giving them the drinks. And like, since everyone eats together, they usually eat out the same like stew or pie, and they should be the one ladling everything for the older person.
Interesting.
If the older person is doing it, then that's just not right. Scandalous on the younger person's part. Is there any similar to Rwanda?
Rwanda, there's not many things like that, but I know you're not really supposed to look someone older than you directly in the eye, like if you're talking at the dinner table or just in general. And then also if you're like passing something to someone, like you're passing the bread from the table, you like pass it with both hands instead of just like grabbing it and like giving it to them. It's like more respectful to do that.
Interesting. Yeah, Spain sounds really, really chill and informal compared to Korea and Rwanda. Like, I thought there are a lot of things in the United States that we would consider to be not necessarily like bad manners, but kind of something you wouldn't really do a lot. Like that I experienced in Spain. One of the things I was told that we were all told before we went to live with our host families is that like don't try to help your host mom when she's cooking. Like that is her job. The kitchen is her place. Like she's very proud of what she cooks. So you're not supposed to try and help her. My host family though, I made chocolate chip banana bread for them and they ate it in like less than a day. So my host mom like let me bake for them sometimes occasionally if she was in a good mood about it. But like they would eat dinner while watching TV, like, or, and that was just something really strange because it was like every night at dinner, The Simpsons would be on. And I was like, I don't want to watch The Simpsons anymore. Like, I want to converse with you, but stuff like that.
Oh, cool. And then how do people like dress and are there any customs in Spain and South Korea?
Well, first of all, I mean, like, how do people dress here? How do you guys think you guys dress on a day-to-day basis?
What do you guys wear to school? I can see a few of you, but not that well.
Like stand up and show
Uniforms?
Yeah.
What are your uniforms, like a collared shirt and just long pants?
Hello.
Okay, that's similar to Rwanda. Most, actually not most, all school children, they wear uniforms. It's typically pants for boys and skirts for girls that go at least down to the knee. And both of them wear like polo shirts, like you said. Typically they're like white and then like blue pants, but it depends on the school. But in general, what people wear is, Rwanda is a kind of conservative country. So they try to cover their shoulders. They try to have things down to their knees. They don't show too much of their chest or their stomach or anything like that. But in like the capital, like where cities and like more modern people are, some people do wear like tank tops and shorts and things like that, but it's just not as common. Yeah. What about in Spain?
Yeah, the kids wear uniforms to school. I think girls can wear pants. I can't remember exactly, but I'm fairly certain I saw girls wearing pants. And then on a day-to-day basis, y'all, Sevilla, where I was so hot this summer. It was the hottest summer in the past 10 years, but they still wear pants all the time. Like no one wears shorts. You're either in a skirt, a dress, or pants. And you don't wear athletic clothes outside of the house. Like I'm wearing a t-shirt and running shorts right now. Like I could not wear that out on the streets like we do in the United States. It's not a thing. Like it's seen as lazy and you would dress like a normal, like a person going places if you're out of the house, which is very different for me and uncomfortable and hot. But
That's similar. Oh, sorry. That's similar in Rwanda too, because you can't, girls like, or women never wear athletic clothing. Boys can get away with like basketball shorts and like t-shirts, but once like you turn probably like 13, 14, you're supposed to look kind of professional all the time. Like you wear pants and a button down or pants and a t-shirt sometimes, but definitely not like shorts or anything.
Yeah, no.
Huh, that's really similar to Korea in terms of like, one, it's pretty conservative in that like people don't tend to show like, they don't tend to wear tank tops or like spaghetti straps. Instead, people tend to show their legs a lot more even though so short skirts are totally a thing in South Korea. Anything that you can find in like Urban Outfitters or Forever 21 is like a good idea of what people wear on a daily day-to-day basis. Yeah, school uniforms are also a thing, but they look pretty different. If you guys watch anime, or if you have seen some of the British school uniforms, they are usually a lot like the Japanese ones or like the British ones, and they're a good blend of the between. Girls wear skirts, usually like some sort of plaid skirt, and they have like a blazer of some sort, and then guys just wear like a blazer and pants. But girls try to hike up their skirts. Sort of thing. Then did you ever feel like you stood out in what you were wearing in comparison to like everyone else?
Before I left for Rwanda, I like did some research about like what you're supposed to wear, and then like with my study abroad program, we all met, and the professor like told us like don't wear anything too revealing, boys dress professionally, things like that. So I kind of packed for Rwanda. I knew things with like sleeves and like and not sweaters, with things that came down, and then like jeans, nothing too tight or anything. So I didn't really stand out too much, but I know one of my friends on the program, it was just really hot one day, and she had been following the kind of dress code thing, but she was just like, it was too hot. So she wore shorts, like a tank top, and then she wore like running sneakers, I think, and she went out with us, like just walking around, and she got a lot of stares, and she felt very uncomfortable with it. So then she went home and she put on like a sweater.
Yeah, you can definitely tell who is from the United States because of the way they dress. Like, I mean, I would wear shorts. It was so hot. So I wore like jean shorts. I wore nice clothes. Like I wasn't about to wear running clothes or athletic clothes to class or out on the street, but I would wear shorts. So I bought a lot of dresses so I could wear those that were a lot cooler. But you do stand out. Like it's inevitable.
Yeah. For myself, like since everyone goes by the trend, if you're even wearing like the slightest article out of trend, like a t-shirt that's not like, trending at the moment, then you look different from everyone else in the subway. So it takes time to like really catch up your wardrobe to what's going on in Korea. And for the first month or two, I just like stuck out like a sore thumb.
Was there ever a time when you like really breached etiquette? Like, do you have a fun, or I mean, maybe not fun, but do you have a story of when you felt like you just screwed up totally?
In regards to dress, not really. Like just a few of the girls on my program, they would wear things that weren't exactly appropriate, and then they got stares both from men and women. And then I know some of the boys on our program, they brought like athletic clothing and like basketball shorts, and they would go like, play basketball down the street, and like that's okay. But then when they were walking back, obviously not doing anything athletic, they were looked at like boys instead of like men.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Grace?
Mine isn't so much about dress either, and it's not so much like being in Korea that really got me to like breach etiquette or anything, but it was mostly when I came back to America. People don't usually eat with their fingers in Korea, and so when I ate chicken nuggets here for the first time in like 6 years, I was like, oh my god, I have to use my fingers? Like, I forgot. And like hamburgers too, and pizza even. Like people usually use a fork and a knife to cut everything.
Huh.
But using your fingers, absolutely. Like I embarrassed myself so bad with my friends here. They're like, "What are you doing? A fork and a knife is like a slice of pizza from Domino's." And it's like, well, just how we used to eat things, I guess. What about you? Any like cultural shock?
I think like the informality wasn't so much as a shock as like a really nice thing. My professors, we called them by their first names. And then as I said, like when I spoke to my host mom and I referred to her as the formal version, she was like, no, don't do that. Like I'm chill. I'm Aurora. I'm on the same level as you. And I asked her about it and she was like, yeah, you would only really say that if I were talking to the king or something like that. So that was probably it. Yeah. So now we're going to do like another little activity with y'all. We're calling it Do or Not Do. And what you're going to do for this game is we're going to give you some scenarios from our countries, And the idea is for y'all to say do or not do. So we'll probably ask you to raise your hands or do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So it'd be like, who thinks you should do it? Raise your hand. Like, who thinks you should not do it? Raise your hand. Or we'll do, not do, depending on how we feel. But yeah, I think Gabby has the first one.
Yeah. So some of the things we've talked about and some we haven't. So if we haven't, just make your best assumption and we'll see if you're right. So if I'm trying to talk to my friend and I'm in Rwanda, but it's kind of loud in the area where we are, so I talk louder so she can hear me, do you think I should do that or not do that? Just raise your hand if you think I should do that. Raise your hand if you think I should not do that. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, because like I said before, talking loud in Rwanda is seen as like rude and like a touristy kind of thing to do. Do you have another one, Samantha?
Yeah. So I am being introduced to a stranger, one of the brothers in my host family who I haven't met yet. Should I kiss him on the cheek or should I shake their hand? So raise your hand if I think I should kiss him on the cheek. Okay. Yeah. And raise your hand if you think I should kiss him on the cheek, if I should shake his hand. Okay. So I would actually kiss him on the cheek because he's related to my host family, who's my family for the summer. So it's very informal. It's not like a business setting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's do another greeting one.
Okay.
I am meeting with like my older family for a holiday in Rwanda, let's say, and I go up to them and greet them before they greet me, like my aunts and uncles who are older than me. Who thinks that's a thing I should do? Who thinks that's a thing I should not do? All right. Well, actually, in Rwanda, the younger people going up to greet the older people is what's acceptable. They shouldn't be like waiting for older people to greet them. So I would actually go up to them and be like, "Hi, how are you?" Things like that.
Interesting. Let's move on to some eating questions. See what you remember. Okay. So my host mom is cooking dinner for the family. Should I help her or should I stay out of her way? Raise your hand if you think I should help her. No one. Raise your hand if you think I should stay out of her way. Good job. Y'all remember. So good.
My mom wants me to stay out of her way too.
Nice. Then if we go to a restaurant in South Korea, should we share the food that we order or cook, or should we eat on separate dishes? This is briefly mentioned. So raise your hand if you think we should share the food we order. Raise your hand if you think we should eat on separate dishes. Yeah, you're right. We should only share the food that we order or cook. It's seen as like a communal thing, or an ula romantic kind of deal.
Okay.
Maybe another dining one?
Yeah, okay. So the TV is on during the meal. Should I turn it off or leave it on? Raise your hand if you think I should turn off the TV. No. Okay. Raise your hand if you think I should leave it on. Good. Well, so that one's kind of a trick question. You can leave it on or you could turn it off, but my host family and a lot of people like to watch the news or their favorite TV shows. So it's not so much of it's an absolute rule. It's more of like whatever your family is feeling that night.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know in my family, just growing up, we weren't allowed to have the TV on, there, but then we would also like share everything on our plates.
Yeah.
I come from an Italian family, so
do y'all watch TV while you're eating dinner? Raise your hand if you do. I don't know. Okay, cool. Just seeing.
All right, and we can try a dress one. So for this one, I have pictures, and I'm going to try to show it on the screen for you, and you can answer the question that I asked. So if you're a girl just going out to eat with your friends in Rwanda, like a casual setting, would you wear something like this? Let me pull it up. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. Something like this. Can you see that? Is it big enough? Where did they go? Oh, I see them. Or would you wear something like this? Or something like this?
No,
Not that
so
one?
smart.
Which one do you think they would wear? Number two? Yeah, you're right. So the one with like the jeans and the little sneakers and the sweater, that one? Yeah, because while jeans are like, they're a little tight, people still wear them over there, and then the sweater covered the shoulders, so that was good, and the little sneakers. The problem with the last one is that the short's pretty short, it's crop top, and also in Rwanda, people don't typically wear sandals, especially not flip-flops. I remember, I don't think it's still in the laws, but a while ago, like flip-flops were banned, like people weren't allowed to wear them.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's definitely the second one. And then which one do you think you'd wear if you were going to a formal occasion, like a wedding or something? Number one? You're right. I actually got the chance to go to a Rwanda wedding when I was there, and my host family, they put me in one of those. And it was really cool, and it was really comfortable too. Yeah. What about in Spain or South Korea?
Yeah, Grace, do you have one?
For like one of the questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, then if I'm talking to someone older than me, then should I bow and use respectful language, or would it be okay to just use informal language? Um, Raise your hand if you think it'd be okay to use informal language. Raise your hand if you think it'd be okay to use respectful language. Yeah, just like Rwanda, and unlike Spain, it's not a chill country to be in when you're just for the first time.
Yeah.
Definitely safe. Definitely to be on the safe side, you should always use respectful language.
Yeah.
How about this one? If you're walking with a boy, and if I'm walking as a girl, and I'm walking with a boy home from school, then would it be okay to hold hands? What would it be like in Rwanda? Would it be yes, no?
Well, what do you guys think in Rwanda if I was walking home from school and then I held hands with my friend who was a boy? Do you think that'd be okay? Raise your hand if yes. Raise your hand if no. Okay, yeah. If you're not really supposed to do that with members of the opposite sex unless you're like family or things like that. But do you think it would change if I was holding hands with a girl? Do you think that would be okay? Yeah? What about if two boys were holding hands? Little mix on that one? Well, in Rwanda, it's like not weird to see two boys or even two men just holding hands down the street. That's what's like acceptable. They're just friends, obviously, and also like two girls or two women holding hands. That's also fine. Two people of the opposite sex, if they're romantically involved, they can, but it's not usually like a public thing. In Spain?
Same in Korea. Wow. Yeah.
Well, the thing with Spain is that usually you don't bring your friends or people who aren't family over to your house. Like that's not an acceptable thing. So you go out together with your friends and with your boyfriend or girlfriend or partner. So you will see a lot of people like holding hands, hugging, being on the streets and stuff like that. Same sex, opposite sex, doesn't matter. Like being physical, like Spain is a very physical country. Like a lot of Europe is, they don't have a lot of personal space bubbles. So that was something I had to get used to, like being in very small spaces with lots of people.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Anything else y'all would like to bring up, or do y'all have any questions for us before we decide to close it down?
About customs or just Spain or Rwanda or South Korea in general? Or any places you want to go?
Yeah, question in the back. Anyone, shout them out.
What about when you went to the wedding? How was the wedding set up? And, was it did y'all have dancing and stuff?
Yeah, it was actually super cool. It's one of my favorite memories from Rwanda. We only stayed with the host family for like a weekend, but I was with one other girl from my program, and we both got to wear, they're called like umushanas, something like that. And that's in Kenya, Rwanda. And it's like all silk, and you wear it, and it's just super comfortable. And then when we went to the wedding, first we were at like a reception kind of thing with the groom's side, because that's who our family knew. And then everyone ate, and then everyone went to the area where they were going to get married. And then it actually wasn't like a wedding that you think of here. It was like, what do they call it? It was like a dowry exchange. So like the groom was paying things to the bride's family so he could marry her, and like cows and things like that. That's more traditional. So it was things like that, but there was a lot of traditional dancing. There was a lot of like singing, because singing is real important in Rwanda, and then there's a lot of instruments. There was a lot of drums, and it lasted for probably an hour, hour and a half, and then after that, the bride and groom took pictures, and then everyone went back either to the bride's side or the groom's side, and we went to the groom's side, and then you eat some more, and you celebrate, and people make speeches, and then about a few weeks later, they would actually like get married.
Yeah.
It was super fun though. Thank you for that question. Any others?
Yeah, there are a lot.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, whomever. Race. Just kidding, no race.
How old are all you guys?
I'm 19.
I'm 19.
Oh, okay. We're all 19.
We're all 19.
So we're all sophomores, right, at UNC?
Yeah. Members in the back, come forward.
Was there a specific way that people had to like wear their hair or something, or could they just wear it however they wanted?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, you could wear your hair however you wanted in Spain. There wasn't anything like that. And like, I didn't see many people with colorful hair, but that's not like, they don't have a problem with that. I just don't think it's like a trend there like it is here.
Huh.
In Rwanda, there were a lot of different hairstyles, actually. You didn't have to have it any certain way, but some hair was natural, some of it was curly or permed, some of it was like braided, things like that. I know for school children, some of the schools make all the kids, boys and girls, shave their heads, so like they're equal in like the education system. So a lot of young people there have their head shaved, and then when they're older, they have like their natural hair.
In Korea, like, everyone does their hair however they wanted to, and you see a lot of people with dyed hair because that's like this current trend. You see some people with shaved hair, and that's probably because they're in the army. Like, there's a mandatory military service for guys around the age of 20, so they have to shave their hair then. But afterwards, everyone like bleaches it, they dye it. It's just like the K-pop styles that you see in videos and the like.
Cool.
Anyone else? Yes.
You guys first got there, were you really scared and not expect? And were you guys really scared when you first got there to your different countries?
Yeah, I was so scared, mostly because I haven't traveled out of the United States much before, and when I did, I was like with adult figures in my family. When I flew in, I was kind of on my own, and I've never been to Africa before, like anywhere in Africa, so I didn't really know what to expect. But when I got there, we were staying at this guest house, which is kind of like a mini hotel, and the people there were super friendly, and they arranged pickup for us. They came and picked us up, so everything was fine. And then they kind of showed us the ropes, so it wasn't like too scary or anything. But originally, I was very scared that I would do something to offend someone, or like I didn't know like what Rwanda was like, if it was dangerous, if it was clean, if it was not clean, things like that.
Yeah, I was very scared. I think another thing too, for probably all three of us, is that they spoke different languages there, and that can be really scary. I know in Spain, like the whole purpose of my program was so I would learn how to speak Spanish, and I was like, oh, I have to speak Spanish the whole time, which I love Spanish, but like having to actually speak it the whole time, like with native speakers, is very scary, and that's what I was scared the most about, is like communication.
Yeah.
For me, wait, how old are you? How old
Question asker, how old are you? Well, they're sixth grade, right? So are you around like 13, all of you?
I'm 12.
12,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah, okay, because like I moved to Korea when I was 12, like when I was as old as you were. So if you can imagine that, I was hella scared. I've never been to Korea before I went there to move there for like all 6 years. And I was really scared I wouldn't make any friends, mostly. But I got over it. It was really fun. I don't think I would give it up for anything. Like, I don't think I would have enjoyed, like, I don't think I would have been the person I am if I didn't go to Korea. It was probably one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. So, if you want to go abroad, you should definitely consider it.
Yeah, for sure. All
Good
right.
question. Any other ones?
All right, last question.
Hey, I might have to check out because my battery is dying.
Oh,
But it was really nice meeting you all. Thank you so much for everything. Yeah, have fun with the last question.
Oh, no, friend, ask your
you
question.
can ask.
Okay, do many people use technology just like here? Like, do you see many people with phones around?
Great
Do
question.
you want to answer first real quick, Grace, or do you have to go?
You asked about technology?
Yeah.
Yeah, technology is huge in Korea. Like Samsung and LG, that's all from Korea. Everyone's on their phones all the time. People go to PC rooms, which is like a place where they go play computer games like LOL and StarCraft all the time. It's pretty popular. People are really keen on technology.
Cool. In Spain, everyone, there's always a computer. Like my host mom had an iPad and a computer, and everyone has phones, but they don't have iPhones. Like iPhones are very rare and very expensive in Spain. So everyone has like, like normal like HG Android phones, which is nice. And as I said, my host mom had an iPad, TVs, and I actually still follow one of my host brothers follows me on Instagram, and I follow him. And I don't know if he's really like representative of the Spanish population in what he posts on his Instagram, because he likes to fish, and so he posts videos of him like fishing. But other than that, yes, they really use technology a lot.
In Rwanda, technology isn't as popular. Most people have phones, whether it's like an iPhone or a flip phone even, they still use. I know I had to use a flip phone when I went there because our professor wanted us to be all like linked on Rwanda phones. And then as far as like laptops go, a few people have them if they need it for their job, but other than that, they don't really have it. School children, they normally just have computers at the schools instead of each kid owning one because it's just easier that way.
Yeah. Great questions, everyone. We've really enjoyed speaking with you today. And we just hope that after all of this, that you've really taken away that other countries have different customs and different forms of etiquette, but that doesn't necessarily make them bad. It just makes them different. And some of them aren't even that different from what we do in the United States. So it's not that scary. It just makes their customs part of their culture. So we hope after today you kind of think a little bit more about how what you do every day affects your culture and your daily life. And we've just really enjoyed talking with you all.